hard. I haven't stopped crying because I'm closing my jewelry brand, Every Jewels. To thank you guys, we are doing 90% off all our jewelry. This brand literally started in my basement, and we have dedicated so much to this.
Small business bankruptcies are skyrocketing, with Chapter 11 bankruptcies now exceeding 2007 and total business bankruptcies near 2007 levels. Today, we're going to unpack all of those statistics as well as listen to several small business owners who have recently filed bankruptcy. Now, considering 60% of their total tax liabilities from property tax, it makes perfect sense to me that the American dream of being a business owner is absolutely dead. Now, yesterday we talked about how abolishing property taxes would save countless amounts of farmers. Today, we're going to show you it would also save countless amount of small business owners. Now, we must force our government to adhere to the 16th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. And having said that, happy Wednesday and welcome back to Real Estate Mindset. You guys already know this video is going to be absolutely bonkers. We're going to take a look at the United States courts updated bankruptcy filings as of November 24th of 2025. Now, bankruptcy filings increased 10.6% year over year. According to statistics released by the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts, annual bankruptcy filings totaled 557,000 in the year ending September 2025 compared to 504,000 from the previous year. Now, business filings rose 5.6% year over year, and non-business bankruptcy filings increased 10.8% year over year. Now, this is going to start to get very interesting. For more than a decade, so for over 10 years, the total filings, okay, so this is going into 2024, the total filings fell steadily from a nearly high of 1.6 million all the way back to September of 2010. And that's going to show you guys that after recession, there are still several years of turmoil. So we had a recession, the global financial crisis, and then several years after that, there was massive amounts of turmoil. Now, the low was 380,000 in June of 2022, but the total filings have increased each quarter since then, but they remain far lower than historical norms. Now, that may be true for Chapter 7 and personal bankruptcies, but when we look at business bankruptcies, these are actually skyrocketing. And the first thing that I want you guys to note is that this is going through 5 years. So it's going back to 2021. You can see that right there. Business is right here. So each of those years, business bankruptcies, other than 2021, business bankruptcies have absolutely skyrocketed, going up to 24,039. Now, when we look at 2007, we see right here that in 2007, it was 28,322. So even though we're not quite there yet, we're extremely close. And when we look at the total bankruptcy filings by chapter, a couple things I want you guys to pay attention to now. First of all is the Chapter 11. Now, Chapter 11 business bankruptcies are actually higher than they were during 2007. So remember, 8,937 Chapter 11 bankruptcies so far in 2025. Because you'll notice here in 2007, Chapter 11 bankruptcies were only 6,353. So once again, that's demonstrating to us that businesses are taking an absolute beating. And we also see that homeowners are also taking an absolute beating, even though the overall amount of bankruptcies have been going down for the last 10 years into 2024. Chapter 13 has not. And Chapter 13, you guys, is for homeowners or if you have any type of assets. Chapter 7 is if you don't own a home. Chapter 13 is if you do own a home. Now, this is not where we were at in 2007, but it is getting close to where we were at in 2007. And this has been skyrocketing up since 2021. You see that in 2021, we had 117,000, again, skyrocketing up in just 5 years to 203,000. And that's just the year to date. Now, another form of business bankruptcy is either a PIK, which is payment in kind income, or mergers and acquisitions. And what I wanted to show you guys here is, even though there's so much complexity here, US Bank merger and acquisition activity surges to a 4-year high in Q3. And you guys see that right here. You see that surge going up here. Now, the first thing I want to point out is when we're looking at this chart, yes, it surged right after lockdowns, and it should have surged right after lockdowns. But right about here, that's when the Bank Term Funding Program was created and the Federal Reserve bailed out the banks. And you see, look it it basically, at least in my opinion, it suppressed business bankruptcies, and all of that has started to deteriorate going into Q3 of 2025, and it's deteriorating, as you see here, by a lot. Now, if you're interested in seeing who the top merger and acquisitions are for 2025, here it is right here. Pinnacle's number one. Here's their target. PNC Finance number two. They obviously targeted First Bank, but here's a list right here of all of the top banks and the companies that they purchased, and also the amounts and the locations. There's a lot happening right now. Mitch, can you articulate what's going on with small businesses right now in America?
Well, I've said a few times in the past that we don't know what members individually or jointly of the government know. However, I want to expand upon that. And if they're claiming that they do know, why didn't they do something about it? It's not as if the opportunity didn't exist to fix this. And you were referring a minute ago to the mergers and acquisitions of the banks, but we shouldn't skip over the fact that no bank gets merged without the permission of the Federal Reserve. And more than likely, it's the Federal Reserve that is arranging for the mergers. So they take bad banks and they push them off into good banks. So it gives the illusion that the market is fine, when in reality, it's not. You've got about 4,700 banks remaining, of which, give or take, 600 are on death's doorstep because they've made stupid loans and they're going to go broke. So the idea of trying to keep them afloat, that's the illusion. With regard to the overall problems, and I think we're going to get into this in a minute, but residents and tenants have been my world since I was 15 years old. And the amount of economic pressure being put on mom and pop and the businesses, which are owned by mom and pop, due to fraud, has been ramping up in direct correlation with the decreasing purchasing power of the US dollar as well as the Canadian dollar. And I've sent Travis a chart. He's going to put it up below this video, but you're going to be horrified. Since the creation of the Federal Reserve in 1913, it went from 1,017, that's the index power, purchasing power, down to today at 62. These problems are all hooked at the hip. Solutions were available, but we're now past the point of solutions. We are now past the point of having to destroy these systems, including the healthcare system and the real estate tax system, because they can't be fixed.
And I hope the viewers understand what the article pointed out. It's been over 10 years, and finally, the total amount of filings has reversed. So they've been doing good, right? The trends have been going down according to their data. It's probably cooked. But for 10 years, it's all shifted. The small businesses, it's the breaking point. They can no longer handle the fraud, which is the inflation. They cannot handle the increased healthcare costs. They cannot handle the massive amounts of property taxes. Small businesses can't handle being American. And so we're going to listen to three different Americans that are small business owners that are having to close down their businesses. And I want you to think about how sad that really is. When we were children, I think most of us kind of dreamed about owning a business one day. Comment below. Let me know if that was you. It was certainly me. But let's listen to these Americans.
Brutal these tariffs are. I'm a small business. I sell travel and organization products. My brand sells to Nordstrom, Macy's, Anthropologie, and also my direct-to-consumer site. But I'm telling you, everything is so uncertain right now and scary, and some big opportunities that we're going to be kicking off are on hold. I'm just like, what is going to happen? I'm trying not to stress. I've been through over 20 years of business. What goes down comes up. What's up comes down. But this is just like absolutely unprecedented. So if you had your eye on any of my products, I tagged one here. Check it out, because I might have to raise my prices, and I can't imagine doing that. I don't want to do that. It's like a bad dream, and all I can do is just try and be optimistic. So support your small businesses right now. If you see something that you love, snatch it up, because prices are going to be increasing.
And when prices increase, they pass that along to the consumer. That's why abolishing property taxes will create massive deflation, and that's why we need it. Let's listen to this next business owner.
So as you know, things have not been great for us. It's been a bit of a struggle bus, but we have just hit a brick wall. We have to be out of our warehouse by the end of July. We can no longer pay our employees. We'll be doing one last warehouse sale. So as soon as I have that figured out and planned, I will let you guys know when that is. Any of the inventory I have here in the warehouse that I need to sell, I'll be posting for super cheap, so keep an eye on that. That's just like our ready to ship items. We will be selling all warehouse machinery, equipment, anything that's in this warehouse is being sold. So if you're interested in any of those type of things, also let me know. That's how things are going around here. I'll keep you guys updated. If you have orders that are currently placed, we are fulfilling orders from here. I have to figure out up until what date, and then the Chicago warehouse will be taking over, so we'll have like a little lapse. But as soon as I know more information, I'll let you guys know. So yeah, thank you for being here. It's been a interesting 5 years, ups and downs. Very down right now, but staying positive, at least trying to. If you're another business or brand out there struggling, no, you're not alone.
My name is Amber, and I own a store called Earthwell Studios located in Sioux City, Iowa. My store is going to go out of business in June of 2026. This is at no point me asking for handouts. I've made peace with the fact that we'll close. We have about 9 months. I'm going to do everything I can to try to save it. I don't do TikTok. I'm not somebody who posts. I watch videos. I'm not somebody who wants to be in front of the camera, but it feels really important to me to share what this space is before we go out of business, before we close. So please be kind as I navigate what my next chapter looks like. Thank you.
You go bankrupt with debt. Now, I've never been bankrupt. I've never had to file bankruptcy. Would I if I had to? 1,000%. None of my assets would be seized because they're in different entities. This is what the wealthy people know. They know how to protect themselves with entities and use debt if they need to.
He seems to think, Grant Cardone seems to think that going bankrupt is a good thing, even though he's never done it. So not sure what his angle is there exactly. I don't know that going bankrupt is a good thing, Mitch. Can you maybe talk to mom and pop and explain, how do small businesses hedge themselves against all of this uncertainty?
The uncertainty needs to be defined, and the school system is bankrupt. We've already gone through that. It's bankrupt morally. It's bankrupt in terms of the education that it provides. But over and above all that, it doesn't teach economics. It doesn't teach people how to survive. It doesn't teach, well, if you're going to get into a business, you need to understand a balance sheet and an income and expense statement and drill down to the nth degree to understand what's happening around you. Like I said, residents and tenants, be it commercial tenants, have been my world since I was 15 years old. And within the last 15 years, we've taken the position we have to underwrite. We can't put them in our properties unless we underwrite these tenants. We need to understand the business. We need to know that they're going to be able to survive whatever's coming their way. I even had one tenant got very annoyed with me because I refused to put him in. I knew he was going to go bankrupt. He went somewhere else. 4 months later, he was bankrupt. So this is a failing school system. This is a failing education system. The problem with the idea of hedging is that it really does start with education. And if they don't have the education, you end up with what you've just seen in these last couple of internal videos. Their head is being slammed into the wall. They don't have anywhere else to go because they didn't understand what they were getting into to begin with. So the average age of a restaurant that is able to survive or not survive in today's world is 18 months. They don't have the carrying power. And this becomes a real problem.
It is a problem because what you did is you talked about the truth that no one wants to hear. More than likely, small businesses, It sucks, but they got too much stacked against them. You got the new construction costs stacked against them. You got this new healthcare charges stacked against them. You got massive amounts of property taxes. You got other inflations going on, the price of everything going up. I don't know whether or not we're even going to have small businesses 10 years from now. Maybe AI is the new small business. I don't know, Mitch, but what's happening though is not good. And I'm going to say this. I get it. I get what you're saying. No way. The human element, mom and pop will always be resilient. These types of things, maybe that. And I agree with you, but I have to take a step back and say, I am worried, and I do not like the trend of things. I do not like that Elon Musk and Trump and all these people are saying that the only way that our economy doesn't crash is from AI spending, because it's not helping us. They're just taking government money and giving it to the private sector at our cost. This is not good. It's killing us. And speaking of property taxes, I want to show the viewers now exactly how abolishing property taxes would help small businesses. Now, what's really important to understand about this article titled "Property and Sales Tax Are a Major Driver of Corporations, State and Local Tax Burdens." This was created in 2021. From 2021 until right now, the budget and the debt is way worse. So this is going to talk about the tamer time in America, and understand, again, fast forward today, as is indicated in the statistics, things are way worse. But this is what this is saying, okay? And again, think about how expensive it is because of property taxes. And then think about how many people passed away from fighting a war to create the 16th Amendment to the Constitution. But this is what this says again. Across all major firms in our study, income and other general business taxes that exist in some states, including gross receipt taxes, accounted for only 19% of firms' tax liability. So sales tax is only 19% of total tax liability compared to 60%. 60% is for property taxes. That means that property taxes are over 3 times higher than sales tax for businesses. 3 times higher, and it's against the Constitution. There's a reason why. Right now, 15% for sales tax and 5% for unemployment tax. New firms often received such significant incentives as to experience negative income tax liability, though these firms often still face high burdens under other taxes like property taxes. Again, we talked about how farmers need this, especially farmers, but also small businesses, because so much of their money goes to it. When most people think about property taxes, they think of taxes on the value of land and buildings. But for businesses, unfortunately, they get hit even worse, because property taxes extend far beyond real property, often applying to tangible property like machinery, equipment, and inventory, and sometimes even tangible property like the value of companies' patents, trademarks, investments, and goodwill. You guys saw the videos. These central appraisal districts and ARB boards, they're not qualified. They can't even do correct appraisals on a residential property, let alone do a complicated appraisal or value on a business. They can't even value my house. What makes them think they can value a trademark? These people are like minimum wage employees. This is an absolute atrocity. It needs to end. This goes on. Currently, in addition to taxes on real property, taxes on value of businesses, machinery are levied in 38 states. They get taxed like crazy. And taxes on the value of business inventory are collected in 10 states. Stop killing small businesses. These taxes are a significant driver of overall tax burdens for businesses in capital or inventory intensive industries like manufacturing, agriculture, and retail, among others. So if you're wondering why so many businesses are closing down, we can say specifically property taxes. For example, for our model distribution centers, property taxes frequently represent more than 2/3, more than 66% of a firm's total state and local tax burden. The effective property tax rate of 43.5% of net income. And before Mitch absolutely annihilates this next section, when I asked him how could abolishing property taxes save small businesses, let's listen to one more small business owner explain how rent skyrocketing is preventing businesses from even opening. And understand, you guys, just like farming, just like small businesses, if we remove property taxes for landlord, what happens to the rent? If no one pays property taxes, if landlords don't pay property taxes, they will drastically lower rent. Listen to this video.
I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, specifically South End. Let me explain to you why all these small businesses around the area are closing, and we're all just really upset about it. So I co-own a small business in Charlotte, and we have dealt with the issues. We've had to move because of the issues, but this is insane. So most, especially small businesses, they have about a 5-year lease at minimum with an option of an extension. But the issue that's happening is that South End has not always had crazy rent prices. It was expensive, but it hasn't been insane until the last 5 years. So what you're seeing right now are the people who got in right before the big push and the big bulk of people started coming into South End, they locked in these prices, and then all of a sudden they have to go renew their lease, but their rent has gone up 4 times. These businesses cannot make it when their rent is $10,000 plus on a 2,000 square foot location. So if you love a small business, please, please, please do as much as you can right now to go support them financially and online.
Mitch, one of our next videos is going to be how abolishing property taxes is actually going to lower rent and is going to help the poor and is going to help first-time homeowners. We're going to conquer and overcome every single rebuttal when we hear people say, oh, don't abolish property taxes because it's going to hurt the poor or the first-time homeowner. Those people aren't even doing the math. They don't even know what they're talking about. So Mitch, since you know what you're talking about and since you're doing the math, how would repealing property taxes actually save American small business?
You must repeal these real estate taxes. This system has got to be destroyed because there is no alternative. This is not that complicated. We've laid it out. The evidence exists. And the answer is either get rid of these real estate taxes and these healthcare problems, or you will break the vast majority of the population of the United States. And you will probably end up in civil war as a result.
Okay. So not only would it allow mom and pop to stay in business and to start a business, but Mitch, do you think that abolishing property taxes from a small business perspective create deflation? Could they pass those savings on to their consumers?
And the answer is yes, absolutely. From a personal experience, there happens to be somebody in Johnson County who owns a series of townhomes, and most of his townhomes are occupied by seniors. He fought and won. He sued to get his property values down, and he ended up with $180 a month reduction for those seniors because they couldn't afford it to begin with, but he wasn't going to put them out on the street.
So he passed that savings on to his tenants?
100%.
And he still had, so just for the viewers, he still has property taxes. What Mitch said, he got a great discount on his property tax bill, and he passed that savings to his tenants. That's what we've been saying. Is that right, Mitch?
Yeah, $180 a month. And for seniors that are on fixed income, that's a big deal. And these are nice properties. These are nice townhomes. But again, he couldn't rent them for more money. The question is how to keep the tenants in place, because who's he going to rent it to due to the cost of inflation? So he took his winnings because he got a reduction in the property value and saved the tenants $180 a month. Not a bad day at the office.
Now, Mitch, if there's any small business owners that are listening to this video right now, how could existing small business owners help in abolishing property taxes?
We've been saying, kind of pushing fairly hard on this issue, which is mom and pop can no longer sit still and say somebody's going to do the heavy lifting for me. Travis showed through a Facebook account with 5 people how effective it can be at a local level, because all real estate is local. So if mom and pop could find a local Facebook group and or set one up that just simply says, we're not going to tolerate this. The one thing a politician can't stand is 400 or 500 people coming straight at them saying, we're not asking you, we're telling you, you're going to do this. And if you don't, we will sue you personally. We will joint and severally sue you and everybody that's on your board and the entity that you represent. This is where the power is. It's been proven. We've done it. Travis did it. 5 other people were participants in it. And straight across the board, 100% effective. The bonds in that community were all shot down. This is the power of mom and pop getting involved. It's not an option. This is a must. You can't sit there and think somebody else, us here in Texas, can help you in Dublin, Ohio. We can certainly show you what laws have been broken. We're happy to do it. That's why I created the website. It's all free. We've set that up for everybody across the United States to be able to get in there and say, okay, this is what they did to me. This is what they did to me here. All the evidence is there. But on a local level, You've got to go after these politicians, and that means legally. You're going to have to sue them. You're going to have to go with your neighbors, get 4 or 5 neighbors and say, we're not putting up with this crap. We're going to sue. Of course, you walk in and you give them an advance warning, and you do so peacefully and nicely. But you give them the advance warning, say, we're not asking you, we're telling you. You're going to fix this come hell or high water, or you're going to get sued because you're responsible under law, both state and federal, for fraud. Make no mistake, these property taxes are pure fraud. What's happened in the last 5 years, where the values have gone up over 100%, there's no math to back that up. The federal government itself, by virtue of its own inflation, says inflation ran in 5 years roughly 15%. What happened to the other 85%? Pure fraud. All the evidence is on the website. It's on my website. It's on Travis's website. It's on Jeff's website. It's all there, but you're going to have to get involved.
Real quick, guys, I wanted to introduce you to my brand new newsletter from Substack. Please join my Substack. This just went out yesterday. I'm so proud of myself. My God, I'm so proud of myself. Melody Wright and Mitch Vexler have both been pushing me to open my Substack. Here it is. I will have the link in the description. My first Substack was on the mortgage rate drop and the 50-year mortgage. I'm going into the payments. I'm going into the amortization schedule. Regardless, you guys, all of this stuff is here. There's links to the amortization, payment schedules. It's all here. Please join, please comment, please share, and please understand that you are loved and appreciated, and you don't have to, I don't want to force you to do anything, but you should remain hopeful, and you should understand that Mitch and I are fighting for you, and hopefully you'll join us in that fight. Go to our website, and as always, you guys, if you're out there investing in real estate, if you're out there investing in yourself, your business, whatever it is, your family, you guys already know, we wish you luck, and we hope you win.